Now, hold up, Charles. You know I usually agree with you. I would agree with a lot of stuff.
Nah, Timbo, I gotta cut you off.
Paint that picture a little bit more clear.
Let me follow up. Because you know what's crazy?
No, I don't know. Hold up. I don't want to cut his wisdom. I want to get back to him, but I just need him to give me a deep one.
Okay. Yo, let me say something, right?
Because people gonna feel some kind of way about that response. So
yo,
we're gonna get the pushback. So let me give it now.
No.
Peace. Well, I want to welcome y'all to another episode of Info Minds Presents. Now, this episode we got the brother Charleston White, and we have the brother Anthony Dewberry. They both Texas natives, and they'll just give y'all a little quick background on who they are and where they're from.
Hey man, y'all know, man, this Anthony Dewberry, man. I'm out of Dallas, Texas, man, West Dallas to be exact, man. You know what I'm saying? A little lightweight background, man. I was incarcerated when I was 15 years old. I did 18 years. You know what I'm saying? But I've been home 11 years, and I'm just out here doing the work, man, just trying to get everything on the right track.
Yeah, man, my name is Charleston White, Texas native, Fort Worth, Texas. Kind of similar story to Anthony Dewberry, man. Was a troubled teenager, got into some trouble as a kid. Caught a murder case at the age of 14. Spent right at 7 years, incarcerated in the Texas Juvenile Justice Department. So Dewberry and myself we fell in a group of children who are the first generation of children in the state of Texas to be tried and adjudicated for crimes such as capital murder and things of that nature, and who fell under a law that Texas had at the time. They had just created called Texas Juvenile Determined Sentencing law, where a kid can be sentenced up to 40 years for committing a violent crime. So I got out in 1998. I don't have any felony convictions. I hadn't been to prison. And so my life ended up evolving into being a youth advocate, community activist, community leader. And so here we are.
Now, Charleston, you're known to speak out against gangs, gang culture, especially Bloods and Crips. Now, you also have been vocal about the gang culture and what effect LA has as far as their culture on New York and the South.
Well, the culture no longer has an effect. It took effect decades ago, of the first introduction to it. So now it's not just LA culture, it's Black culture. The gang culture exists in the Black community, which to me is the first state of oppression before you even be introduced to white supremacy, before you even be introduced to the police fucking with you. The first thing fucking with you is the elements of gang culture. So I'm very anti-gang.
And Dewberry, how do you feel about that?
Man, I'm like this here. We got to understand that if you are part of any organization that's about destruction, I am 100% against you. If you about anything that's going to cause destruction to our people, we need to be against that. So I always say this here. It doesn't matter what you did when you was young. It's about what you do once you get older and you start having knowledge. So when I sit there, I say this here, and I always use this slogan. It's all about elevation. So when you start to elevate and you start to have more knowledge on certain things, that's when you starting to wake up and start realizing that a lot of things that we done before, it was all about destruction. So we got to do away with the destruction. So that's how I feel about that situation.
Now, Charleston, you had to sit down with two former gang members, Ayatollah Marv and Melvin Farmer. Now, they confronted you about comments you had made about Tookie and Monster Cody. Now, you walked out of the interview because you felt that they were playing for the camera.
Yeah.
Now, will you now stop speaking about Tookie and Monster Cody? Or
no.
Will you continue to use them as examples?
Don't we continue to talk about Dr. Martin Luther King? Don't we continue to talk about Dr. Sebi? Don't we talk about Marcus Garvey? Don't we talk about George Washington? Don't we talk about Abraham Lincoln? Don't we talk about Trayvon Martin? So why is it that we can't talk about these guys? See, the biggest mistake that people have this misconception is that you can't speak ill of the dead. Well, if the dead lived ill, you can speak of them, right? What most people fail to realize is the things that you do aren't tallied up until you dead anyway. Your life ain't complete until you die. So when you die, that's when we look at what you done on life and talk about it. That's your legacy. You done been tallied up, right? So what your tally says, we get to speak on it. Whether you hear or not, that lives on forever. See, but they don't want to talk about these guys only in a good light, because once you start peeling the onions back, these are shameful men. These are men who couldn't be fathers. How can we idolize these men? And we got men who planted a seed in a woman, and from the time that that woman realized that she was conceived with a child, that man remained there. He never went to prison on his children. So we got to talk about this, homie. So let me just say this. That sit down was supposed to be a debate, unbeknownst to me. These guys wanted to debate me because they felt like I shamed Mob James. So they've been trying to get down here for months. These guys are not coming down here at their own expense. These guys are being booked for bookings, for shows, podcasts, to have scheduled debates. I said, man, I don't want to debate. So they said, we just want to talk. So I'm showing up to talk, brother. I don't debate what I believe. I don't believe two black men should be on a platform debating. And when they get through debating, nothing is built, nothing is manufactured, nothing is produced, nothing is created, but more feeling. So nah, man, it was a waste of my time. And once I saw, see, this is what people fail to realize. I was there an hour before the cameras came on. There was no animosity. The things that they was trying to discuss on camera, if they were serious about the dialogue, we would have had those discussions before the cameras came on. They're serious about the dialogue, we can have these discussions on the phone. It ain't no reason to get on a podcast if we really serious. But if we're not serious, we'll book flights and do it on the podcast and play for the cameras. So when I realized, they playing for the cameras, I realized I'm the star. And homie, I'm being played on at this time because these guys aren't being talked about. These guys aren't being put on platforms. So, once I peep game, shit, man, let me get out of here.
That also brought Hassan on because Hassan has been very vocal in the past about gangs and gang culture as well. Now, Hassan, did you see the interaction that Charleston had with Ayatollah Marv and OG Skull?
Yeah, I don't even know who those guys is at all. Like I didn't see the interaction. But you know what? I respect what Charleston just said as far as like, with the debates. You go through a debate, and after the debate is over, it's like, what have you accomplished? Nothing. Yeah, I respect that. See, a lot of people don't understand. You know, I rock with Charleston because he's dangerous. And it's like people can't see past the antics, but the reality of it is when Charleston is on his job, he's a problem. He's a problem. And a lot of people don't like to hear the truth. That's the reality. That's why I'm like, both of us is the most hated. But at the same time, if Charleston like really decide to take his gloves off and stop playing and put the ice grill on, News is gonna have a problem. Charleston having fun with it right now. If he decided to actually sit back and say, you know what, playtime is over, and really, it's gonna be a problem. The hate is there because people don't like the truth, man. They don't like they don't like the truth. I sit back and it's like, you know what? I try to take the political route and say, yo, let me extend my hand to some of these gang members and see if I can start leading and paving the way for them, and show them some love. You can't show ignorance love. It's like when you watch the movie Halloween with Michael Myers, right? One of the scenes, Jamie Lee Curtis had Michael Myers hanging off the cliff, and she was holding his hand, like looking at him like, this is my brother, let me save him. But then she looked in those void eyes and realized, like, yo, some people you can't save. And some of these old heads is in the way. Some of these old heads is in the way.
When I sat down, when I walked away from that situation, in hindsight, I looked at myself, which is a 44-year-old black man. I looked at Boss Talk ECEO, which is a guy in his mid 50s. So we got 40, 50s. I look at Melvin Farmer, OG Skull, he's in his 60s. And then I look at Ayo Tola Marvin, who's in his 70s. So we got 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old black men. Two of them are old enough. One of them is old enough to be my father. The other is old enough to be my grandfather. Right? So I'm being chastened. I'm supposed to sit there and listen to these elders chasten me about foolishness, right? Yeah. I'm supposed to listen to these elders chasten me and represent destruction, represent mayhem, represent murder, represent pain, represent some of the one of the worst acts done to black people, and it's self-inflicted. And I'm supposed to listen and have dialogue, and I work on capital murder cases. Last night I was sitting in a studio with Michael Crabtree, Dero from Dero Music, and a black kid who went to college who sing opera music, and he rapping. I get a call from Miss Teresa Huffines, who's an attorney and partners with criminal defense mitigation specialists to work on a young man by the name of Moses Case, who got 3 bodies. He's facing life in prison. He want to go to trial on principle, but he dumb and stupid. And the prosecutor is offering him 8 to 10 years. If he take 8 to 10 years, he can take this plea bargain without snitching. But he'll rather go stand on principle because he didn't pull a trigger. But he don't know in the state of. So I'm working on these cases, but I'm in the studio, homie. So when I walk away from these situations and I look in hindsight, what people see me speak with is a disdain. It's a disdain that I have for old fools who can't look at me, look at a woman, or look at nobody in our community and say, man, I was wrong. Man, we was wrong. As many people died, they died in vain. I don't give a fuck how honorable you think they were. They died in vain. When will we rebuke it? When will we rebuke it? So I got a call from a very, very powerful bounty hunter from Nicholson Gardens. But he did it in such a way, you said, man, this brother trying to build something. My spirit said reject him. My mind said reject him. But because I'm obedient, homie, to trying to build something, to trying to uplift a people that's no longer oppressed by constraints, but they oppressed by the restraints of their own people. So I got this brother listening, and before this conversation ends, I'm gonna let him speak because he's real powerful out of Nicholson Gardens. First generation bounty hunter. Started the truce over there with Grape Street and Watts. He the first brother out of California with that much power. He the first brother out of California with that much power to say, brother, let's talk in love. No, I ain't coming at you. So what I'm saying is we done broke a mold. It's ugly, but we done broke a mold, Hassan. From the West Coast to the East Coast, my. So these niggas can stay mad and be mad, but we building when we walk away. So that's why I can be so bold and be so unapologetic in my confronting this bullshit, homie. Because when I walk away with guys, we building, homie. So fuck who don't like what I'm saying. I'm saying fuck what I say. Look at what I'm doing. It's a whole lot of y'all saying right and doing wrong.
That's a fact. I want to introduce Hassan to my brother Anthony Dewberry. Dewberry, that's Hassan. Hassan, that's Dewberry, man. It's a good dude, man.
Thanks, family.
Now, dude, you were just listening to Charleston. You listened to Hassan. Give your take on it.
I mean, you know, just like Charleston said, and just like Hassan said, when we gonna start waking up and start realizing who is destroying our community? Now, when we sit back and we still got older guys that's at the age of 80, 50, 60 years old, and they still trying to promote ignorance, it's always going to be a problem. So when I seen that situation with Charleston and School and the other, and the other guy, Charleston done the exact thing. He done the right thing by getting up, walking away. Because at the end of the day, if you is really trying to reach out to me and have a conversation, we don't need to be on the podcast. We could have had that conversation, but we got on the podcast. So therefore, we need to get down to the real deal is you want to be known on the internet. See, you want to get interviews on the internet so you can be able to try to get some limelight because y'all ain't got no limelight. So it's a difference when you trying to sit down and have a conversation to come up with a common solution, then you trying to just get play on the internet. So, you want to get play on the internet to say, hey, man, I stood up for this, sir, and I stood up for that, sir. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So that's how I feel about that. We need to do away with the ignorance of those individuals.
And let's just be real, homie. Both these men are on parole till they die. They on parole till they die. Any accusation can put them in prison for life. So they want our people to believe at this age with grandchildren, nephews who love on you, that they willing to put it all on the line for the set and to represent the hood. To say, okay, you can't disrespect this. And I'm saying, brother, what you saying I've done, I've already done. Where do we go at this point? I done already gave you my reasoning. I'm not disrespecting Stanley Williams. Even Stanley put Tookie to rest. Even Raymond came out of adult prison talking different. Even Monster Cody changed his name to Shakur or something. Everybody shedded the old character. Why do we hold on to him?
Yo, hold up. Now you got to say it again, because you know what? Like this is why I tell people when Charleston take his gloves off and he stop playing and he gets on his serious, he come out on like Iron Mike Tyson. This is why dudes don't understand. Like, yo, why you keep bringing up Jim Jones and Mano? Yo, I got love for Mano. I like Jim Jones' music or whatever the case may be. Matter of fact, I don't know Mano, but I want to see Mano win. We got friends in common. But I can't sit back and allow dudes that's knocking on 50 door to call themselves lobby boys to entice young boys to think that it's something cool about these demonic lobbies that we come from with the hallways filled with piss and shit. It's like, for me, right? I know what it's like to be in the battlefield. I know what it's like to be in jail for murder. And I also know what it's like to feel the fire, to feel the pain, to see brothers go inside that courtroom. While we in the bullpens, I'm in the bullpens, they leave smiling with a suit on and come back teary-eyed because they just blew trial and got 33 to life at the age of 16. So when I listen, like, for example, Five God, the younger brother that he pretty much worked with me with the music and stuff like that. That's my boy. But we got a lot of differences because he'll sit up there and say, yo, you being a hypocrite. No, it's not that I'm being a hypocrite. When I went through the fire, I felt the pain, and I hate and despise what I seen my brothers go through. That's what separated me from the dudes that was in jail stealing sneakers and robbing dudes for the commissary. I'm like, yo, we ain't made not one move to break out of this bitch, but we stealing sneakers. I see. You got to separate the boys from the men. At some point in time in life, you got to reach the higher level of yourself. And some of these dudes is stuck in a second childhood. When Jay-Z put the spell over the community by saying 30 is the new 20, these dudes are really living that. 30's the new 20, 40's the new 20, 50's the new 20, 60 new 20. So we don't get to see the complete shaped and molding and sculpture of a real man that aged like fine wine. Nope, all we see is an ignorant turn into a real, turn into an old stupid, turn into an old dumb. And this is all we seeing, the library of wisdom. Because in order to have wisdom, people have to live out their experiences and live out the knowledge that they have. The wisdom has been erased from the hood. And the other people that have the wisdom is smart enough to escape from the hood or to turn into a chameleon, because if you shine too much light in the hood, one of these demons is going to put your lights out.
Hey, I got and I don't mean to cut you off, Hassan. I got Nino Cappuccino from Watts, California. Can you hear us, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Can y'all hear him?
Yeah.
I just wanted him to chime in right quick on what Hassan just said. This brother was responsible for the 92 truce that had nothing to do with the Rodney King events. It has something to do with brothers like us in the background working to put a stop to something, but the Rodney King thing just happened in the process of what's taking place.
Yeah, we're familiar with Nino. He's been on this platform before.
Yeah, so shout out to Real Tune, man, and that's my little bro, man, for reaching out to me and saying, man, I got somebody from California that want to talk to you. I'm man, I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm sick of these just talking. So he said, so he vouched for him. So I said, well, give me my number, fam, and let's see. So I'm not looking for confrontation, but at this point, I'm closed-minded to anybody trying to defend what I'm standing against. The brother came with trying to understand first and foremost where I'm coming from. How did we get to this point, Charleston? How did you get to where you are today with what you speak about? And the man listened. And he heard. So he and I, well, you go ahead, Cappuccino.
Hey, first off, where we at right now? Tell you what platform? Where we at?
We on Infomise.
Okay, no wonder the response was kind of dull, man. Info, what's up, man?
What's going on, man?
You ain't did nothing to me, man. What's happening?
Yeah, nah, it's all good, man. You know, I don't take this shit personal. The last conversation we had, though, I would say it wasn't a productive conversation, so that's why my energy was the way it was. But you know, it ain't personal.
It wasn't a productive conversation. Listen, man, since we online, and you know, here's the thing. Cats got to quit proclaiming, okay, I'm a man and I'm this, I'm a king. But then when it comes down to self-criticism, dudes don't want to take the self-criticism and swallow man as the man they are and keep it pushing. Bro, I didn't ask to be placed in no position in the very first place when I came on your platform. I mean, you reached out to me based on a referral from one of my rads. So I came there to give the truth and unlike the truth, which is what I've done. Same thing as today is being on here right now, man. I'm not here for no bullshit, and I don't want to hear no bullshit because I'm not here to participate in no bullshit. My whole thing.
Yeah, because this is impromptu. This is all impromptu. This is unplanned, unscripted.
No, it's all good, Charlie. I'm with the flow.
Yeah.
So it's like, so my whole thing is, info, man. I got to the point of structure where, bro, I can be on this internet for the next 2-3 years of my life if I want to, and I can act stupid and dumb with everybody else to be stupid and dumb, man. Fuck some buffoonery. What are we gonna do for us resolving and resolution bi-coastal. We know, okay, we know where the Mecca aspect of things was started. We know where the seeds was planted. Everybody got to stop playing these roles like who's the toughest. We know where the goddamn seeds was planted. We are at fault, bro, when it comes to this shit, when it comes down to gang culture. I'm the first to admit it, and I'm a man about it, and I'm not ashamed of it. It's called growth. You feel what I'm saying? So now my whole point is, okay, what I do, Cap, to push the line, to push the envelope, to get brothers and other individuals that I know as warriors such as myself, even from my coast and bi-coastal, to bring us together, to show that unification of G's, and then so we can lead by example to show our youth and our younger ones that it's other routes, it's other ways of this shit, bro, because enough is a fucking enough, man. Every time you turn on this goddamn internet, it ain't no other cultures just dying vastly unless they're third world cultures in a third world country somewhere, man, through war. It's our people, bro. And so now I got to the point to where I raised 2 kids on my own, homie, twins, a set of twins. I pulled them out their mama womb, and I ended up raising them by myself from 4 years old up to 19. They speak 4 different languages, bro. They're in college. It's their first year in college. My son slipped and got caught up in the streets and a little hype for a second. So that triggered something in me, my. I said, oh, hold up. This was something I've been protecting all my life to the point when I said, when I'm gonna have kids, I won't raise my kids in my hood. I'm not throwing no flags in my kids' pockets. You won't see no pictures of my kids and me, banged out. Fuck all that. That's a generational curse. So that was never me. So my whole thing was, I got nieces. Now I got 9 nephews. I got 8 nieces. So I think about these things, man, when it comes down to the shit that's going on today. It's like, bro, I don't want to have to come out of retirement, man, and come out of my situation and my accomplishments and my achievements and shit and goals that I've achieved already to come back down to the level of becoming destructive because somebody that hurt somebody, man, of my loved ones. Because they chose to be out in these funky ass, dirty ass, fucked up ass streets.
You know what got me today, homie? It's 2 things happened to me today to say, man, I realized that a 15-year-old kid watches me and his mother didn't like me. And he convinced his mother to like me.
Okay.
And so, man, that fried my brain. And what else got me? See, I was gonna reject this brother right here, homie. His voice was too aggressive. He talked like a California nigga. But I saw 3-6 Mafia and them old busy bone them squabbling on stage last night, homie. I said, if our old is doing this, we doing it on the internet, they doing it on the verses. You see what I'm saying? We lose.
Automatically trickle to the streets and all that.
Yeah, homie. So I'm saying, come on. So I called this brother, homie. So I called this brother and I said, say, homie, let's sit down and get these people something that they need to see. Me and you done it, them for miles.
Yeah,
me and you done it, homie.
But now that we got you on the phone, Nino, right? When we spoke that time, we had my issue was whatever the fallout was from the interview that we did. Yeah, you had people making videos about you. Yeah, you had motherfuckers saying, yo, Nino this, Nino that. That's what these platforms do. When you come on these platforms and get a lot of attention, a lot of views, you're going to get that. You're going to get good. You're going to get good responses. You're going to get bad responses. But me and your issue was that you saw a couple videos of people that made about you and wanted to come right back on the platform to address those. But that ain't what we do over here. So that's what we didn't see eye to eye. So, like I said, it was just a learning experience. It ain't nothing personal, but we didn't see eye to eye. Okay, shit happens. You don't see eye to eye. We agreed to disagree on that particular situation. And it's the first time that we spoke since then. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I hear you. I understand. Yeah, I hear you.
So listen. So what we'll do, homie, we'll finish this because we all on camera because it's cameras everywhere. So we'll make this right. Yeah, afterward. But I just need Nino in on this conversation. Right? Cause this some heavy shit we putting on the people tonight, man. So we covering all coast right now.
Now,
right.
Yeah, you wanted to respond,
Yeah, no, I was just saying, info, man. Even then, bro, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm let how far I'm done with it. We don't even got to go back and forth about it because
right.
it's about the negative tip of it. My whole thing, man, was just with you and I. It wasn't about coming back on and clapping at these dudes because again, I didn't know them. My whole thing was I just felt the shit was just like you said. It was my first situation in the first place, but it was a learning process for me because I learned off of it. Guaranteed, I learned off that shit, bro. Right. I put myself in a certain position, so I learned off of it. I didn't know nothing about trolling and all this old internet shit.
Right. Yo, Nino, you know what it be sometime, bro? A dude, you know, you see your dog howling at the moon. The moon don't never howl back. So in some instances, a dog howl at the moon. If the moon actually howled back, you know what that make a motherfucker feel like? So that's just some of these guys of lesser stature, of lesser status, woofing, and if they can get you to respond, it's a win for them. And at that point in time, we didn't see eye to eye on that, but you've experienced it. You went on and you moved on. You've been on other platforms. You know how the game go, and you know what these guys use as they tactics.
Right. Follow what I'm saying, though, man. I took your situation because, like I said, I come from the Chronicles thing. A couple of times I did another couple of little things, and then I hit your shit, right? When I come here, now this was the first time something like this instantly occurred because I done opened some doors on the truth. And when the truth was revealed, got in their feelings. I don't give a fuck about you. Your motherfucking feelings in your mama garage some goddamn where. So when I'm talking like this, again, you want to get mad at me, I'm mad at Charlie White. I respect Charlie White. I don't give a fuck about no Charleston White's character. I told this man this because I understood it. So when it came down to me, for some reason, the Keys didn't want to accept that and swallow that pill. You had a grown-ass man over here talking about, oh, no, man, I just don't like the way he talk. And how he come off a certain way. So what? So my whole thing was...
Now, that's another thing. Look, Nino in Charleston and Hassan. Now, Dewberry, you next to Charleston all the time. Now, me and Hassan has always come on the platform to support us and vice versa, right? You know how much pushback I get for just because I'm cool with Hassan. You know how much pushback I get? Yo, why you be interviewing Charleston? Yo, look, man, these brothers got messages. You might not get it now, but you'll get it.
You say
I go through the motions. I get all type of pushback because I'm cool with Hassan and I'm cool with Charleston. But I understand what they doing.
See that not to cut you off, but see that's the catch though. You can't tell me about Charleston. You can't tell me, oh man, Charleston saying this and Charleston saying that. See, I always tell a person the same thing. If you don't like what Charleston's saying, turn the TV off and go to another channel. Because at the end of the day, we're going to have this movement must go on. I listen to Hassan and I listen to Charleston. And I'm going to say this here. Hassan said something earlier. Yeah, they have a powerful voice. And when you got a powerful voice and you not going with the motion of what everybody wants you to go with, guess what? They don't supposed to like you. They don't supposed to like you. So that's why I say that, no, they making a positive move. Now, guess what? They got me doing it. I just been on the internet for 3 months. I didn't think I could do this. But when I watch Charleston and I watch Hassan Campbell, man, I watch how they break down situations, how they go about doing certain things. Now, I'm built for this. Yeah, I'm built for this. So let's go, y'all.
All right. Yeah. Now, look, let's not get caught up. Let's get into some serious stuff. Charleston, I know you want a time crunch, so I want to hit some of these more serious questions. Now, a couple weeks ago, we see that 3 men were found guilty of murdering the unarmed Ahmaud Arbery in South Georgia. Do you think that they received the right verdict, and what kind of message does that send out to the Black community as far as someone is finally getting justice?
Man, that's one guy. That's one guy. That's one case compared to. Man, it's kind of hard for me to say they got what they deserve. Because in my mind, man, white people is doing to us what they supposed to do. White folks ain't wrong in my mind for hunting and killing no. They ain't wrong. Folks ain't done nothing wrong in my mind. They doing us way better than I probably would be doing them if we was over them.
Now hold up, Charles. You know I usually agree with you. I would agree with a lot of stuff.
Nah, Timbo, I gotta cut you off.
Paint that picture a little bit more.
Timbo, let me follow up. Because you know what's crazy?
No, I don't know. Hold up. I don't want to cut his wisdom. I want to get back to him, but I just need him to give me a
hold up.
deep.
Give it to me, Tim.
Okay.
Let me say something, right?
Because people gonna feel some kind of way about that response. So
we're
gonna get the pushback. So let me give it now.
No. You know what's crazy? Sometimes I be wanting to snuff Charleston White because I be like, yo, why he still in my eye? Get out of my head. How I feel about this is like, so you got 3 white boys that gunned down a dude that was jogging. Black people, all these McGilla guerrilla killers is killing everything in sight, even the babies. You mean to tell me there ain't no retaliation? We sat back and waited to hear what the trial was going to be, what the verdict was going to be, instead of going up in that courtroom and dragging.
No drive-bys on their mama house.
No drive-bys. No drive-bys. No retaliation. So I'm like, yo, hold up. We sitting there waiting. We shall overcome. Fuck that. You mean to tell me that our soldiers are so tough that you could make a video talking about who I smoke, young baby, who I smoke. You done killed and then rapped about killing. But when one of them killed about 3 or 4 of us at one time, there's no retaliation. No retaliation. That's why I said, you know what? If I really wanted to put the pressure on black men, just go get you 10 white friends and come through the hood with ice grills. They will shoot it out with 10 other black men, but as soon as you bring some white faces, and there ain't got to be no police, bring some white faces to the hood and watch how it turn up. Watch how it turn up.
Dewberry, what's your point of view on that? And what's your point of view on Charleston and Hassan's statements?
Now, I'm gonna look at it like this here. I'm gonna look at it a little different, but I can understand where they're coming from. I feel like they deserve more than what they got. You see what I'm saying? Then the reason why I say that is because it's not about just the justice. It's about that we need as a community, we need to wake up and start realizing that we always saying, fuck the police. We always saying we against the government, but then we'll sit back and say we want the police and the government to lock them up. So we need to come up with one solution of saying, are we for the police, the government, or are we gonna say, man, fuck all of that? We need to stand up on our own 2 foot and put our own work in. See, we got too much going on. See, the hip hop culture got us thinking all types of ways. Cause they saying fuck the police, right? And then they'll come back and say, man, fuck the government. We ain't with that, right? But then they'll say, yeah. They'll say, yeah, when somebody get convicted. No, if we gonna be against that, let's be all the way against that. That means we got to start handling the situations ourselves. Am I right or am I wrong? Now I'm gonna let y'all in.
You know what? Like you said, right? The whole key to it is, how do you go to somebody who put shackles on you, stole your land, fed your babies to alligators, right? When you went to the church back in the days, I used to always wonder why they had an alligator on the fan. You fanning yourself with the alligator. So those fans that came from white churches ended up in black churches, and you fanning yourself and you looking at the alligators eating the babies on the goddamn fans, and these are the same people you asking. No justice, no peace. You asking the same system that put their lynch mob on you to come rescue you from them. Instead of getting angry, you got all the soldiers that you need. You got all the guns that you need. The problem is you can't figure out how to stop your sons from killing your sons.
No, man.
You can't figure out how to get these old from being OGs. These OGs want you to give them accolades for surviving to be 40 and 50 years old in the hood, but they never bust a grape in a fruit fight against the enemy. You were scoring points. You scored points your whole life against somebody that looked just like you. You scored points for the enemy and then want to stand up there and stick your chest out like I've been doing this. Yeah, you've been doing it for the master. There's the house, there's the field, and then there's the runaway slave. There's Nat Turner.
Hey, who is that talking? Hassan?
Yeah.
Hey, but that ain't the case, homeboy, in every situation and all the time, though, man. It is cats who have revolved and grew, bro. It is the individuals who seen the light and seen the other side of that shit, man, to where they reflected is on something different. So it ain't just all OGs, all old cats. So my thing is, man, when it comes down to the bi-coastal aspect of things, man, you know, everybody got their own opinion about things when it comes to this West and how shit is done, man. You know, you're entitled to your opinion. It's like when I came on this platform and I started, when I opened that door, you know what I'm saying, and this introduction was made, I knew that I was giving myself a prime aspect where people can voice their opinion, but that don't mean their opinion is right or they're entitled to it. You got to earn. An opinion is really earned. For real. But you voice it because it's circumstances that we in as far as these platforms. But it's cats, man, it's not talked about. It's cats is not seen because they're not involved with the social media aspect of things. And it's not big and broad.
Well, Nino, that's where I disagree with you at, fam, because for 10 years before I came to social media, I was in the schools, I was in the churches, I was in the juveniles. I used to teach at the adult parole office, the central unit. I used to be at Huntsville when they used to release the inmates every Tuesday and Thursday. I used to travel to Washington, D.C. I traveled around the country. And what I saw, there aren't many black men nowhere in the United States of America, nowhere, homie, that can stand up for one in their household. And the woman listened to them. So while all of us black men are online sharing and debating our ideologies, what are the women saying about us? What about so all of these men are sticking their chests out? Bring your woman. Let's hear what your woman gotta say. Let's hear what your kids gotta say. Because for the most part, fam, that's why I don't work with black men, because they ain't nowhere doing it. They somewhere talking. I got an old man that teaches me. He's 76 years old, and he say, man, you ain't got no business sitting down talking with no other black brother, because all y'all go do is debate and argue. You go argue over who Muslim, who Christian. You go argue over LeBron James, Michael Jordan. You go argue over Crip and Blood, and ain't none of y'all go build nothing. Ain't none of y'all gonna get on the roof and construct nothing. No tennis shoe factories. So every time he see me talking to black man, I get a phone call and say, what I tell you, you talking. Why you go stop building to talk to these? Ain't none of them built nothing. They ain't changed no laws. You done changed laws, my. Our people need better for you than you to sit down on platform to talk to black men. Because when y'all get through talking, what have y'all built?
Not a fucking thing.
Built?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So that's what I'm saying, bro. We all wrong. Let's get our women and let's ask these women questions with the children standing.
That's why I say, that's why I say all the time, right? When Charleston White gets serious, he's a fucking monster. He's a beast. He's a pit bull. You got to take the chain off of him. Because the reality of it is, I sit back and I listen to these lost ass, man, and it makes me sick to my soul. I put myself in a situation recently, and I ain't going to even talk about them cats that even bring life to them, trying to help little smaller platforms that want to give you your flowers. They don't really want to give you your flowers. They want to use your name and their titles and act like they're giving you accolades so they can give you a knife in the back. You can't, right now, we in where we at right now, it's called leading by example. Leading by example. When dudes be talking about me, it's like, how y'all miss the message? How do you miss the message? When I sit back and I talk about the candles burning in front of the building, how do you miss the message? When I sit back and I talk about the scream, when you listen to little Brian's mother, Biddy, little Biddy, when you listen to the boy just graduated. He just graduated and the hood reward him with some slugs to the neck. And when you listen to the mother scream, the pain in her voice, when you listen to that scream, how does it not affect the black men? It don't, because they fucking cowards. They are cowards. And in some cases, I ain't gonna even lie, I want slavery to come back so hard so it could break this curse that we have on us. We need black people are so destroyed that we need so much pressure from the slave master to where that we have no choice but to fight back again. Where it gotta be to the point to where that, you know how when you watch the movie Amistad, where the mother just took her child and she fell off the ship like, y'all will not have me. We need that kind of blood again, where the woman is really ready to say, you know what? I don't think too many men in the black community deserve black woman. And then when you sit back and you look at it, we done dogged our woman out so bad to the point to where that they like, you know what? They competing with the hoes now. They don't know how to be modest woman anymore. We done broke them. Every other female, when I was growing up, and I always say this, when I was growing up, it was hard as hell for me to get a female to give me butt naked pictures of her. And we was already having sex. It was just something that they didn't want to do. Now you got females all over Instagram showing you their cleavage, showing you their ass and dropping it like it hot. And they're talking about why it's in a DM, bitch, because that's what comes along with that. You are a fucking Instagram porn star. The next thing that comes along with that is ejaculation. So who's really raising the kids? The whole system, the system machine that broke us. We are broken people, guinea pigs. Bah. Set up there said how Jay-Z said the crabs ain't supposed to be in the barrel. Yeah, the crabs ain't supposed to be in the barrel, but I bought me some crabs and I put them in my fish tank. And you know what? When they ain't in the barrel, they still scavengers. And some of you crabs, you scavengers. You turn into leeches. You like to feed and suck on the blood on the people that look just like you instead of the people that's in power.
That's very powerful, man. Very powerful.
You know, so it's like, the egos. The number one thing that's killing black men is when you see a black man that's successful, you feel like, all right, that's my target. Let's get him. All these dudes out here is missing the message, man. When you look at Jay-Z, right? When you look at Jay-Z, all these dudes miss the fact that this went from the hustler to the dude that's sitting behind the desk. Then when you look at them corporate meetings with him with them little boule members that's up under him, they come back out of those meeting lobby boys instead of them being, they're the same age as him. And instead of them being the corporate dudes showing, all right, I got this business right here, I got that business right here. These are the moves that I'm making. Now we're going to be the little minions that come back to the hood and they not following into the footsteps of this corporate leader, this king. Jay-Z is no different from some of the greatest kings that you ever seen with the power that he has financially. But financially, we ain't nothing but a tax write-off for the boule.
Now, look, let me ask y'all this. Now, in 1992, Dr. C. Dolores Tucker, she petitioned to abolish the production and distribution of gangster rap. Now, but we all know her campaign failed because we seen how gangster rap propelled. Now, in 2021, 29 years later, Dr. C. Dolores Tucker was right. Does gangster rap fuel violence and the mistreatment of women?
Look at drill music. Look at drill music. It's like when you see Jojo Capone, right? That loss. Yeah. That disgusting loss. When you look at
we can't do that. He's not here to defend himself, Hassan. Me and JoJo is cool.
No, let me finish. No, let me finish. Because the reality of it is that he can come back on your platform and you can bring us back on. This will lead us both to being on your platform. See, when I speak out against Chicago, you can't talk about Chicago. How you gonna tell me that I can't talk about Chicago when Chicago drill music is the reason why little kids that I know are dying and their mothers is crying? And they kids, yo, it kills me to see. Back in the days, my mother didn't know what I was doing because I wouldn't tell her my street. Like, she would hear it from the streets and I'd be like, nah, ma, it wasn't me. Today's days, because of Chicago drill, you got little going to graveyards, pissing on the graveyards, making songs, who I smoke, young baby, who I smoke. This comes from Chicago. Now, New York has been a modest. We ain't even been in the top 100 with the killings. Now we in the top 3. Don't nobody, no disrespect to California. California was respected for that gang shit. Nobody on the East Coast or even in Philadelphia or even with, like, nobody even know LA for that anymore. We don't even remember y'all gang culture no more. It got so bad in the East Coast. We don't even know that Bloods and Crips exist anymore in California anymore because New York done turned into a shithole. And when we sitting up there trying to brag and get their stripes and give their history, my history in New York, all I see is murder. I don't believe you, murder. Fuck around, I leave you, murder. Listen to the lyrics.
I got a 17-year-old kid.
Get shot every day, B. You be all right. You tough, right? Can't wrong voice. Listen to what's going on. Chicago is the STD of the Black community. It is the STD.
I used to hate Miss Tucker because I was a Pac fan. So let me just show you. See, we keep forgetting that most of the people who we say, well, they shouldn't be taking rap serious. Well, these are young, impressionable minds. These are humans who don't have fully developed brains. So they lack the logic and the reasoning of the development of your prefrontal cortex, right? So I didn't like Jay-Z. I can't sing no Jay-Z songs until he got with Pimp C now. I didn't like Mobb Deep. I didn't like Biggie because I went pop. Now I'm a kid who picks sides, right?
Okay.
When he mentioned Miss Tucker's name, I despised that woman, not knowing who she was until I became grown and understanding what she did. I'm the male version of who that woman was to our people now because I know better. So I know better, right? So I'm doing better because I know better. So now that I know better, I listened to a song one time. It says, knock on the door, wait, shoot through a peephole. That was a 17-year-old who went to a woman's house and knocked on the door and killed Zany. He knocked on the door. She said, who is it? He said the police, and he shot through the peephole, and they went and rapped about it. Just last year, there was a young man who went and pissed on a popular rapper's grave, little kid by the name of J-Dub. He went and pissed on J-Dub's grave. Within 2 hours, he was dead. The suspected killer, 3-4 months later, was killed inside the club, fucking with some people listening to rap music. All of the deaths now is centered around the music. It ain't around gang violence.
Yeah.
It ain't around gang violence anymore.
You know what, man? I'm gonna say this early. See, it was a time where I was just like that, right? I didn't like, I was like, what is she talking about? It ain't nothing but music. But not really understanding that the influence that the hip hop culture had on society. See, people, we can sit back and say, because I used to always say this here, we need to start having more education with the kids about hip hop music. But then we also got to understand that each kid want to be looked at a certain type of way. So if you praise hip hop artists, that's what they want to do. They want to be just like that hip hop artist. They want to be just like this rapper. So whatever this rapper say, guess what? They feel like that's the golden rule. Until now, you just said it, Charleston. Ain't nobody being killed behind gang violence. Nowhere, probably in LA. But where else is there really gang violence? You got individuals now saying, I'm a rap group. And a rap group got Crips, a rap group got Bloods, A rap group got all these kind of people, and when it's time for them to go against another rap group, guess what? They got Crips and Bloods, so therefore they going against the gang culture, right or wrong, true or false.
Yeah.
So it done got past the gang violence. It's about what? The hip hop music. It's about the culture that they put out there in the music. They pushing that on us. They pushing it on us. That's how they destroying us, man. And that's really how I feel about this hip hop culture.
I understand what Charleston is doing. Dudes don't like Charleston because they don't want the ugly truth. You got a man that's sitting up there in all the parole, the courts, and all types in the system. I hate the system. I didn't even want to go to the system to fight for visitation right for my kids. I hate it so much because it broke me so bad. You got a man that was broken by the same system that decide, all right, I'm gonna get in the belly of the beast and I'm gonna fight. That's why I respect him. Now I'm trying to figure out how to follow Charleston's footsteps and go into the belly of the beast and change these laws before it's too late. Because once this new world order finished doing what and going in the direction that they're going in, you will not even live. You will be wiped out from this earth. Anybody that think they got a movie. I forgot the name of the movie, but I think it's Surrogates. I'm not sure if that's the name, but in the movie, they basically showing you how if you do not fall up under the system of the conqueror in the way you think, that your whole thinking process will be wiped out. And this is where we at right now, where they playing little guinea pig games with us. You got
your children will mock you. Your children will mock you because of what he's explaining. Your children will mock you.
Now that we speaking
under that system.
Now that we speaking of hip hop and all that stuff right now, this past week, NBA YoungBoy was on Clubhouse and he had a conversation with academics and he explained that he would prefer to collaborate with Tekashi 6ix9ine than to work with half these other rappers. Now, to quote him, he said, half these pussies that be talking don't know what they'd do if they was in his situation. Now, what the F I got to do with that, or me or anybody else? Now, what are your thoughts on him taking that stance? Charles, let's start with you, Charles.
Let me tell you something.
I'm gonna have to go after this. He done went to the big house. He done went to the big university with the big boys in the feds. So he done learned and got a reality of what a snitch really is. They got paperwork parties. They got snitches who got their own compounds. They trying to snitch to get out. So he done had an awakening. So hey homie, I see the young boy started his own record label while he was in prison. So why should we shame the man for making business decisions when all of us do some form of another, some sort of a business with that's a snitch? We just don't openly know it.
Okay. Dewberry, what you think, bro?
Shit, it's called elevation, ain't it? Once you get an opportunity to go down,
you still don't know. You can't get
once
in.
you get an opportunity, man, and you go to the big house, you get an opportunity. It's kind of reality check. This kind of reality check, he never had that. So he got the reality check, and he got the opportunity to see and talk to individuals that was going through that same kind of situation. It woke him up. So now he's starting to elevate and start realizing he been tricked. He's starting to realize he been played on. So now he came home and said, you know what? I ain't getting tricked no more. Yeah, y'all been playing on me. You know what I'm saying? So with him saying that, now guess what he done did? No, it's called elevation. So I'm going to say this here, thumbs up to NBA YoungBoy for being able to what? Break that chain, break the cycle, and start to see what's real and stop being caught up into the fabrication of what they say. So that's how I feel about that. Yeah, thumbs up, NBA YoungBoy.
Right. Right. I agree with the brother. Right. I am a religious man, but at the same time, I don't see these religious leaders in the forefront outside when these kids is on demon times. The pastors and the imams and the rabbis are supposed to pray out the demons, but they're not outside in the street casting the demons out. They're in the back with the pulpit getting the goddamn collection plate. So how are we going to cure the evils that's going on in our community? When the men of God have taken a safe position, but back in the days, the men of God have been persecuted for their people. Why we don't see no more men of God being persecuted for their people? You know why? Because they're on the payroll. And that's the bottom line.
Oh, man.
I had to sit up there. You see how I look like the most ignorant? I look like the most ignorant with all this jewelry on. And you know why? Because in order for people to understand that you just like them and you come from where they come from, you got to dumb yourself down. This shit right here is the most stupid investment that I've ever made to save my people. Because you can't have fake jewelry. I stopped wearing jewelry years ago. You look at my videos on YouTube for the first 3 years, you don't see no jewelry. But I started to realize, okay, you had to show people that you are one of them in order to save them.
True.
And I can't take a safe position no more saying, okay, well, I'm just going to move to an area where the rich live. Because as we just seen, Avant, the sister that was just murdered, Clarence Avant, his wife was just murdered, 81 years old. The evil will come to you. It will invade your house and snatch your soul.
Yeah, there was this past week, right? There was a viral video of Whack 100 calling the police on Blueface artist Krishan Rock to get her kicked out of the house, or he wanted her removed. Now, I believe Charleston had called the police. They said there was a rumor that Charleston called the police on Mob James and tried to get him arrested for a gun. Now, is it ever okay to call the police to deal with a situation so that you don't have to take the law into your own hands and potentially lose your freedom? And should we stop shaming people when they call the cops for help and assistance? You know, because people kind of, you know, some people agreed with Whack. A lot of people didn't agree with him. You know, from a business standpoint, they say, of course, he should have called the police to have her removed. But then on the other hand, they say Whack is big bad Whack. And why couldn't he just have her? Why didn't she just leave on his word? You know, by asking her to leave. So that should be going crazy this past week. So I want to get you guys' take on that. Hassan, I'm pretty sure you saw it.
Well, a lot of people sent it to me, and my whole thing is like this, right? Whack is a man that has the potential to become a multimillionaire if he ain't already. He's a businessman. You're taking care of business. You're dealing in a corporation where you have these females and you're doing recordings or whatever they was doing, because I'm not 110% sure of what they was doing. But what I do know is that when you're dealing with business and you're a businessman, you don't want to become a Tupac Shakur. So you call the police to deal with certain situation before that female calls the police and it messed your life up, even with the baby, right? I didn't like what the baby did. I think that was some real sucker shit that he did. And I think that he was taunting the female, but it's a little bit different from what Whack's situation. When you look at Whack's situation and how they was dealing or whatever the case may be, Whack doesn't want to become the game. The same situation that the game is in right now. You learn from other people's mistakes. People on the sideline, it's easy for a bum broke to sit up there that was taught, oh, don't never call the police, never call the police, never call the police. When you become corporated, that's a white word. You're a part of a corporation. You're inducted into the matrix. So now you better play by the matrix rules when you're dealing in the matrix. Because outside of that, if you in the street, it is what it is. This ain't the whole house. You ain't in a strip club where them females don't play them type of games like that. They go back to the underground and move to another spot when shit get hot. No, this is Hollywood. And Hollywood will hang you. And if you don't document everything that you're doing in Hollywood, later on, 20 years down the line, you will become a Bill Cosby.
What you think now, Dewberry? What's your point of view on that situation?
Now I seen a little bit of it, but I'm gonna say this here though. You are, like he just said, when you become a businessman, you must understand you must conduct business. Now, everybody that speak against the police and things of this nature, they are the same one that's hiring the police when they go to different places. Now, I want to bring this up, and I want y'all to start. This is what I want people to start looking at, right? And I seen Dolph funeral, and I seen 1 million police officers that was hired by rappers to protect his family. So we gotta stop thinking that what you be hearing these rappers speak about, no, they are only entertaining you. And I'm saying that to say this. You said about the Charleston White and the Mob James. I can play on a mind just by saying certain things to make y'all feel a certain type of way. If you got common sense, and they say they streets or whatever they might be, anybody in the United States of America know one thing. How can I call the police because her son said, I got a gun on me? Let's be realistic. It's certain things that you can't do. But due to the fact that you got individuals with their mind is so small and they just want to see so much fault in a person, they'll grab it and they'll run with it. And so that's what I feel about that. But now with the wax situation, hey man, he a businessman. And when you a businessman, you must conduct business. You must conduct business. You're not a street man, you're a businessman.
Now, this past Wednesday, young Dolph was laid to rest in Memphis. Now, 3 people have been arrested and charged in connection with the killing. Now, give us your thoughts on the young Dolph situation, man. Let's start with you, Hassan.
You know what? I'm still holding back on the young Dolph situation because I don't have a lot of clarity of what's going on. It's just a lot of speculation on the internet and people like the internet solving this homicide.
Well,
so
3 people have been arrested.
All right, so now there are 3 people that's been arrested. I have to look into that. I have to, you know what I mean? I have to look into that because the reality of it is I also know sometimes too, you can't speak too fast because sometimes I speak too fast and it's like, hold up, you've been fed wrong information. And these 3 could have been set up. I don't know. I haven't been doing my homework because at the end of the day, I'm starting to get tired of investing more of my time in dead celebrities instead of the dead that's dying in our community. This shit is getting sickening. Because the reality of it is the one thing I'm gonna sit up there and say that a lot of people don't like. They praising, right? I come from an era of praying mothers, and I come from an era of where we were praying people. When I look at Young Dolph's video, I see that clearly he took a stance with the Illuminati and he chose his side and he got wiped out in Satan's house, on Satan's dance floor, in Satan's streets. He got a 666. When you watch him in his video, he pledged allegiance to his master and his master did him dirty. The children of his master did him dirty. And we cry like, no, he picked his side. He chose his side. He died on his side. I'm a child of the Most High. I'm a child of the universe. Even if you don't believe in God, you got to understand something. The universe, the earth, the galaxy has a balance of evil and good. And when you take the dark side, like Yoda was on the light side, the Jedi Knights was on the right side, and then you had Darth Vader. He was on the dark side. Once you sit up there and you pledge your allegiance with your symbolism, we understand what the symbolism means. We understand the oath that's being taken. We understand that. Pick a side. You pick this. Satan came to collect his soul. Why can't he have him? If Satan came to collect his soul, why can't he have him? We got to start getting out. We got to stop getting up out of our feelings. We in our feelings for celebrities. Oh, he did this, he did that. I don't give a fuck what he did. I know his master is my enemy. So that makes you my enemy.
Now, Dewberry, what's your thoughts on that situation, man?
And my thoughts is that, I mean, I'm sitting back watching it. I don't really have no, I'm kind of pretty much like a son when he said that, I don't really know the full details of that situation. And I'm one of those individuals that if I don't have the full details of it, I don't really want to go too in depth about the situation. So I'm really going to speak about the surface of it. And the surface of it states that, you have an individual that has become a success. And once you become a success, you become a target. And once you become a target, you must understand that in this lifetime, we scream, we from the hood or whatever, but always remember, everybody do not like your success. Everybody do not like your success. So I don't know the full details of the situation, if it's an inside job or what it might be, but I do know this here. And I'm a true believer in this here. Say, man, we just got to understand that, once you put yourself in a certain situation, certain things could happen. So like I said, so I'm going to leave it like that because I don't really know the full detail to really elaborate on that situation.
Nah, that's respectful. That's respectful. Now, look, Boosie once said most rappers get killed in their own city. Young Dolph, Big L, Doe B, Soulja Slim, Bankroll Fresh, Chinks Drugs, Proof, Little Snoop, Freaky Ty, Jam Master Jay, Triple Extension, Nipsey Hussle, to name the most recent people. Now, in the hometown, the hate is real, and should famous rappers move out of their own hood and never look back? Or with all these examples and all the names that I just named, they should be trying to get as far away from the neighborhood, you would think. But what do you guys think about that last question?
Well, I'll tell you like this, right? I'm at war with you see, there's a video that they placed on the internet when I went back to my hood. I've been at war with Bronx River since I was a child, being molested by the godfather of hip hop who started this shit. So now, moving up to today's date, right? You see a video with me going back to the hood just to show the hood love. And in a video, I'm being approached, surrounded, and you see me backing out this fake gun because it was fake. And I had to show that, like, yo, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm gonna stand my ground, motherfucker, in the hood. The hood don't love you.
Yeah,
and when you're playing with the hood, when you start shining, like, I don't really like you. One thing you don't see me do really, when you see me get cocky and arrogant, is on my enemies. I stay humble. Not only do I stay humble, but I stay humble to the point that you see millions of videos on the internet with me break down crying because I have a passion, and I still have hurt and pain from the same place the same places that birthed me. When you get to a certain point in life and you realize, like for New York, I can't compare or speak on any other hood because not too many other places have 19 million people on top of each other. So when they say crabs in a barrel, when you have 19 million crabs in that barrel, the hate becomes different. The hate is real, but the love is fake. When you have 19 million people and only 1% of them are rich and everybody else is struggling, and you live in New York City, you have to get out. They got movies indirectly telling you get out of the US, because that shit is about to become Adolf Hitler Part 2. But when you living in New York City, ground zero, The worst of the worst, where there's rats running over your feet when you dining outside during the situation. You have to get out. You want to go back to the hood to be hood fabulous. You know why? I'm going to take you through to some of the neighborhoods that I be in, right? And I'm going to show you. I'm going to take you, like part of my experience that I'm trying to go through in my next steps and stages of YouTube is showing Black people where these rappers really be at and where they really live at and how they really live. They come back in. I'm sitting up there talking to my mans. They be around Jim Jones, right? They're around it. Every time he comes to the hood, he called about 20 different sets of 20 different dudes to meet him where he's at because he don't travel by himself. He doesn't travel by himself, but he makes it look good. But when you see Hassan Campbell in a different environment, in a different background, and you don't see those beautiful trees in the background, understand, I'm out here by myself every single time. And then you know what the people say to me when they see me out here by myself? Be careful. You're going to die. You're playing yourself. Why? I have to live life. I can't afford to have the security that these have. I haven't made it that far yet. I still have bills to pay. When people be sitting up there saying, what have you done for the community? I used my voice in the best way I can. And because I used my voice, I made enemies because I spoke about the people who was destroying the community. You can't sit up there and say, hey, yo, they be selling crack on 174th Street in Bronx River and think that you ain't going to offend the that's selling crack. It's never been cool to sell crack, but it's never been cool to dry snitch neither.
Right.
But then the flip side, it's never been cool to commit treason on your community. You are committing treason on your community. You are open enemy to the children in your community. You are open enemy to their parents when you putting them in foster care and you running around and you're bragging on social media. But when you decide to wake up and be like Neo in the Matrix, and he done finally got over there to the other side, and he's starting to realize that, yo, I woke up from this sleep to realize I'm in another sleep. If you wake up and you let everybody know that you woke up from that bad dream, you are enemy on both sides. Because now you still got to get to the next side away from, because there's different levels of the matrix. So in every level, there's a new devil, like the video games. Every level, you got to defeat a different board. And on that next board, on every board in the past, there's an enemy. This is why Pharaoh, right, chased that. The Bible, when people I don't believe in the Bible, listen to the story. Every man of God has been persecuted by his own people. These rappers deserve to die. Fuck is wrong with, like, people who say that don't even understand. These rappers are becoming your Moses, your Aaron, your Jesus, your Jacob, your Prophet Muhammad, whatever you follow. The people, the stories are there for a reason, to lead you away from the hellfire.
Now,
the stories are there for a reason, even down to the hieroglyphs and how the carvings is in to the pyramids. Those stories are telling you the history, how to avoid the downfall of mankind. The worst thing that ever happened to the Black community is now, from the crack and dope era to the rap era, the worst.
Now, dude, let me ask you the same question now. Is the hometown hate real? And should famous rappers move out their neighborhoods and never look back?
I mean, it's common. I mean, I was just speaking about that, but it's common, like I tell everybody, it's common sense to realize that, man, that you are not going to be loved by everybody in your hood. It's impossible. You got to understand that you're going to have people in your hood with their hand out. And the day you decide to say no is the day you just decide to have another enemy, because you got too many niggas in the hood with their hand out. They don't want to do the work, but they want a handout. So the day you say, no, man, I can't do that. I got bills over here. I got to do X, Y, and Z. Now you got enemies coming out the woodworks. Now they looking to do what? Dethrone you. This what they want to do. I heard 50 Cent say something one time. And I guess he was in the beef, whatever it might be. But he said, why would I be in the hood when I understand that somebody's trying to take my spot. Why would I stand at the corner store when I'm not making no money at the corner store? So as an artist, you gotta be able to put yourself in the right positions. You gotta be able to put yourself in the right positions and stop trying to impress the hood. Stop trying to go back to the hood, take pictures, and impress people that don't even give a you know what about you, man. So therefore, they need to find their lane. They need to find their lane and stop living off their raps. Now you ain't got to be in the hood because somebody trying to take you off your throne. Yeah, so that's how I feel about that situation.
On the flip side of that, we just seen that the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Now they ain't been to sentencing yet. They just got found guilty. So we got to wait on the sentencing process. Now, the Rittenhouse, the issue that happened up there in Kenosha. Now, would you say that Rittenhouse acted in self-defense and was the not guilty verdict the right verdict?
First off, right? I say this because I sat back and I watched. Somebody sent me a video. They sent me a lot of videos. When you deal with Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse, right? In his situation, his whole movement when he hit that town was documented. It was on camera, which makes me feel like it was scripted. Well, let me play along with the game. From the time he got there, he had a gun and he had ace bandages. He had his own first aid kit. I seen when he got there was somebody that walked him every step of the way. And this is what people are not asking. Rittenhouse walked from the time he got to that place. I sat back and watched him walk. Dudes flipping on him like, yo, yeah, that's the dude that backed out the gun on us to tell us to get off of this property. Because basically what he was doing was using the gun to tell them not to tear down the community. And the cameras caught that as well. So now this dude is becoming a hero as he traveled along. As he's traveling, boom, the first dude that he kills attacked him. Do you see the script that's going on right in front of your face? It's scripted. Then the second two decided to attack him because he killed the first one. But all along, all these dudes that he killed was robbing and looting the town. Why wouldn't he be a hero? It was scripted. There is a such thing as self-defense. But sometimes in life, you could also be baited into a situation where you decide to do something. But the reality of it is, Shorty came out on top, and Shorty had cameras the whole step of the way. The moral of the story in America, you don't even know what's real or fake anymore.
So no. Yeah. But on that situation, I just said like this, sir. Well, we got to sit back and understand something. It's called self-defense, right? So that means that you got to be very intelligent to realize that once you attack an individual that's holding any kind of fire rifle, whatever it might be, he have the right to defend himself. So when I'm looking at it like you got to put yourself in that situation. Sometimes you got to sit down and say, you know what? Let's reverse each other. Let me put myself in that situation. What would I have done if I was walking and I was being attacked? What would I have done? I'm going to defend myself. So my thing is, hey, he had to defend himself. So I don't see nobody who could be angry about anything. You do not attack nobody and don't think there is a repercussion behind it. So guess what? You attack somebody and there was a repercussion behind it. So we gonna live with that and we gonna move forward.
Right. Do you know how many dudes outside home right now that beat murder cases? Do you know how many dudes right now are sitting up there saying free my that killed about 12 in the hood? But now all of a sudden we sit up there and we mad because a one white dude was found not guilty of killing 3, when black dudes are found not guilty of killing black dudes every single day.
Every single day.
Murder is, back in the days, murder was the easiest case to beat because we didn't sit up there and make raps about it and post it on social media because there was no motive. So now they're trying to change the game. This is manipulation, because white people ain't mad that that boy was convicted, but black people are mad when we shouldn't even give a fuck because we still screaming free Casanova, free the apes, free Shadi. Free the other dude Melly, free Melly, free non-trade. Some of the that committed some of the worst genocide on the black community. Free him.
Now,
so
being that you just brought that up, Haas, right? Now, last month the feds charged Casanova with attempted murder. Now he's facing the maximum of life in prison if found guilty. Now, Cass is also facing charges of conspiracy to commit racketeering, conspiracy to distribute controlled substances, and possession of a firearm in furtherance of the drug trafficking crime. Now, Cass says the feds are trying to crucify him based on his past history. Now, is Cass a victim, or did he bring it all on himself by associating himself with the gang? Now, the reason I asked you that question, I want to start with you, Dewberry, because you come from you had a former gang affiliation. You did a lot of time in prison for murder. So you have some firsthand knowledge on this type of situation based on your past experiences. So I want to ask you to tackle that question first, if you don't mind.
Well, when I'm listening to it because I don't really kind of follow the situation with him, but I mean this is just a typical thing that goes on that we got to continue. This is what we continue to go through right now because we trying to solve these kind of problems. Because once you get involved with certain situations with the gangs and everything, man, you got to accept everything that come with it. See, this is what a lot of people not understanding. See, I had to accept everything that came with it. So when I'm hearing you screaming out all these cases and all these things that's coming amongst him, and I'm hearing about, when you making certain music, and not only that, I'm also seeing where you doing certain interviews and you speaking about certain things. So when you do that, you putting yourself in the line of fire to be convicted for all of these things. And I'm hoping that there's more people that can be able to look at this situation and open their eyes up and see what's really going on. Because they bankhead themselves. They throwing themselves in the fire. That's what I feel about that situation.
Haas, what's your take, bro?
Well, my take on the situation is real simple, right? Casanova was a blueprint to stupidity and ignorance. He wanted to be recognized as the top shotter, the number one. He even said it in Vlad. He's the top in New York. Problem is, he had to cross path with dudes like Nuke and Harv, right, and Shadi, and bump heads with Tekashi. Like, yeah, everybody can recognize that Tekashi was not that, but he had those behind him. So when Casanova decided to step in the jungle against some giants, he might have had some fighters rather that was willing to fight at the Barclays when they was about to clash, and you see all of them running towards each other. But in the streets, the shooters was with Tekashi 6ix9ine. So now he had to sit up there and join forces with the apes, Dick Wolf and his crew that was already hot as shit. So what he did was what I refuse to do right now. See, I got beef all over the place with millionaires. And it's like everybody that comes to you, you have to watch because everybody can lead to your downfall. So, okay, if Hassan Campbell got to go to war with a giant right now, who do you put behind you when you fight in millionaires? Tekashi was feeding a lot of, and he had the majority of shooters with him. There's a difference between a fighter and a shooter. A fighter is going to go but so far. Casanova wanted the limelight. He wanted to be the top shotter, and he was rewarded his trophy. Now he has to live with his championship in the prison system, in the court system. He earned his spot in position of where he's at right now. He fought for his spot in prison because he was stupid and didn't realize what he was doing. He had the opportunity to wine and dine with one of the prettiest females that you see in the hood. I don't know if she's a builder bitch or she's naturally beautiful, but his girlfriend, Jazz, 2 times is beautiful. And he should have been fighting to stay with that. Now, all he is in the penitentiary with dudes that's jerking off the Blacktail magazines and bitches in their bikinis on Pornhub. Right now, he turned himself into a Pornhub. When he was a fantasy island, he was getting on planes, landing in the most beautiful places, but he wanted to come back to the hood as this solidified Black John Gotti, and he bodied himself. There's no other way to explain what he did to himself. He bodied himself because he wanted it. Now you reap what you sow. You got a taste of the hellfire, and now that you burning, you screaming out, where's all my friends at? My whole thing is like this, right? What made him think that Jay-Z was going to back him after Jay-Z separated himself from Beanie Siegel when Beanie Siegel would not listen and put himself in the same situations? Jay-Z said, you know what? A hard head makes a soft ass, and he fell back off of Beanie Siegel. Like, nah, you got to learn the hard way. So now Casanova 2 times told himself, or he thought that he was going to be something special. Beanie paved the way. Burning your fire that you created. And that's for all of us. People don't want to believe that the hellfire exists. But the reality of it is, if you eat spaghetti with hot sauce and spices, you get heartburn. You don't feel the burn with inside yourself? When you get heartburn and you got to go run to the Tums and you trying to get the acid reflex down, you're burning. It's the fire. The hellfire exists right in your body. As soon as you commit treason against yourself, you burn. Casanova put himself in the hellfire called prison, and he's burning. Will he make it out? We don't know, but we do know that the feds are being strategic. They decided to charge him with a attempt murder a year later within his charges because they're being strategic. They're trying to show him that we ain't even let you know all the charges that we have on your stupid ass. When the feds come and get you, they did their homework. They did their homework. These fight dirty. They'll be sitting up there letting you hear conversations like Sammy the Bull and John Gotti. Well, Sammy the Bull's like, hold up. I did everything for John Gotti, but John Gotti, hold up. He was talking about how stupid I was and whacking me. These things to be sitting up there when you get ready to go to court. They'll be playing conversations with your side chick to your wife and your wife to your side chick. And you be sitting up there saying, hold up. Did they really just do to me like that? Huh? You dumb, they're listening. You reap what you sow. Casanova 2 times, got 2 times the hellfire because he wanted to be 2 times gangster. And this day and this time, you got to understand something. After John Gotti and Sammy the Bull, you never heard anything about the mob again. It's like when you watch that movie Unusual Suspects, right? He was Kaiser Sose for a reason, not Casanova 2 times. They didn't believe Kaiser Sose exists. He was a myth because you had to prove him because he didn't want to be in the limelight. Everybody wants to be the fucking man. I want to grab the bag and disappear.
Now, Troy had famously said that the streets is a myth. Do you guys agree with that statement?
The streets is never a myth. The streets is real. It's not a myth. What's a myth? What's a myth is this stupid ass gangster persona that they put on you. The streets is very real. I can sit up there and tell you that my bro Xavier Williams, he got life in jail. They didn't even have no real evidence on him. My bro B.O., Bronx legend, that don't really talk about like that. Before there was Pistol Pete, B.O., may he rest in peace. He was extorting the whole music industry. That's why I don't speak his name. He was a monster who got murdered at some point in time of his life because he didn't want to go to war with children. Think about it. He couldn't find himself. He couldn't picture himself going to war with dudes that was 10, 15 years younger than him. That's why the bodies that was dropped when it came to B.O. was older dudes. You never see a history or a record of him killing younger dudes because he couldn't see itself. He was in a position that I was. In a position when he got murdered, he was doing the same things that I was doing, trying to save the youth. This is what he was doing in the universal Zulu nation. He had two identities. He had one foot in the streets, and he had one foot in moving out of the streets and pulling children out of that lifestyle. You never hear his name like that because of this situation. So what you hear about, what made Pistol Pete the illest is when his crew, which he didn't kill, his crew killed B.O., my brother-in-law, David Mullins' twin. So B.O. died from a dude. He died at the hands of a dude that was the same age, maybe 1 year older than me. He died he was raising me and died from the hands of another baby. That was a war that he didn't want it. So he fell back and still got caught slipping because the streets ain't going to show you no mercy. So when they say that the streets is a myth, no, the streets is not a myth. The streets is ruthless. The streets is ruthless, and the code of the street doesn't exist because the code of the street came from the white man. The code of the street came from the slave master. Back in the days when you was considered to be a snitch, it was only because you told when a runaway slave ran away, you told the route that they took. And the rest of the slaves looked at you sideways. Now we calling each other snitches because you want to sell your mother crack. He deserved to go to jail. That shit ain't normal. It's genocide.
Now, Dewberry, now we know you from a different region, but just, the same stuff goes on everywhere. Now, what's your opinion on that statement? The streets are a myth.
Man, these streets ain't no myth. These streets is 100% real. These streets is grimy. These streets is cutthroat. These streets don't have no morals and no respect. And I stand on that. You know what I'm saying? So there is not a myth about what goes on in these streets. Like I tell everybody, I don't care where you from. I don't care about none of that. These streets are the same anywhere you go. I did 18 years for a murder I committed when I was 15 years old. So I'm a witness to say, now this is real. And once you get inside that wall and you able to conversate with different individuals that's gone through certain walks of life, you get an opportunity to start seeing that now this is a real world. This is a cutthroat, grimy, no good world that we live in these streets. Hey, man, they have no morals and respect. So now we're not going to say it's a myth. We're going to say, now this is real. And that's how I feel about that.
That's right. Now, Drake and Kanye are doing a free Larry Hoover concert in Los Angeles. Now, Larry Hoover is the co-founder of the street gang of Gangster Disciples. Now, Larry Hoover is also serving 6 life sentences. Do you agree with this concert? Should Larry Hoover be freed? Critics say that Kanye and Drake should, instead of helping Larry Hoover, they should help non-violent or innocent offenders that don't have the resources that Larry Hoover has.
Let me jump on that real quick, Faye. I'm going to say something. Larry Hoover have served, to me, he have served his time. Now, when I look at Larry Hoover, I look at Larry Hoover transition. I look at how Larry Hoover has become now than what he was. Do we need Larry Hoover? Yes. We need a leader. Larry Hoover is what I consider say that's a leader. So therefore, no, they not wrong. We need more people to petition to say free Larry Hoover. Because we need more individuals that's gone through what Larry Hoover gone through. Larry Hoover done elevated. He done transitioned. And now he got something to give back. And I think what he have to give back could stop a lot of stuff that's going on right now in a lot of communities. So I'm saying, let's free Larry Hoover.
Haas, what's your take?
My take on Larry Hoover, I say free the elder. I say Larry Hoover, I appreciate the fact that the brothers is trying to get Larry Hoover out because Larry Hoover is about to transition into the afterlife. And if we get if we can get a chance to hear his voice, even we don't know what state this brother's in. He could be, filled with cancer on his deathbed. He may not even be in a position to be a leader, or maybe he can. But the reality of it is that some of our brothers have became better men in the penitentiary system, and we should have got them out years earlier. You see what I'm saying? The same way they got Kyle Rittenhouse out and they saved him, we should have got Tookie Williams out. You see what I'm saying? Tookie started doing the showing. Tookie was the epitome of what they didn't want to let out or they didn't want to keep in prison. Tookie Williams was the epitome of, if I could change, you could change, even in the penitentiary, and start writing books. If we could sit up there and create a Tookie Williams in every jail across America, the streets would change. So they had to kill Tookie. And even with Larry Hoover, it's too late for Larry to come home to be who he once was, because the children can't understand his language. But for some of us, like us that's talking right now, we need that extra fire beneath our feet that he would put just seeing our brother. Something like, or maybe something like when Nelson Mandela came home. Nelson Mandela came home. We loved this man. He was a hero. But we didn't realize before he came home, they broke him. And he was the one to put the fire out beneath his people who took back the country. And then they made him the president. He gave back power to the slave master. We don't know what we're dealing with when they let our people back from the Matrix. We have to stop looking for heroes to come back from the penitentiary and start creating heroes within ourselves right now.
So
Larry Hoover don't have too much left in him. Everybody keeps sitting up there talking about what Farrakhan is going to do. Farrakhan is a senior citizen that's in his 80s. This man have about one or two trips back to the bathroom, to the bedroom in his lifetime before he passes away. It's time for us to man up and lead the way and start being the next generation of leaders instead of the next generations of cowards. I think that is a beautiful thing to try to get Larry Hoover out, because the streets of Chicago need to see their godfather, their grandfather come home, a different man, a better man. But if he cannot come back a better man, keep his ass in prison, because we don't need no more real. We don't need no more house. We don't need no more gangsters. We don't need no more OGs. We need tribal leaders. We need answers. We need healers.
now, dude, you get a lot of hate, you get a lot of flack because of your relationship with Charleston. People from the outside looking in don't understand the dynamics of your relationship. People from the outside looking in might not know that you guys have known each other since teenagers. Hassan, you get a lot of hate on the internet just because of the person who you are and the stance that you take on a lot of issues. Now, what do you think and how do you feel, when you see smaller YouTubers use guys like Charleston and guys like Hassan's names for clout and to get their numbers up? What do you think about, from the outside looking in? What's your take on that? And Hassan, what's your take on guys using your name as clickbait and such to get their numbers up and kind of build off of your audience?
Well, let me say this here. One, Hassan, Charleston, they have built a platform, first of all. Let's get that. They done built a platform from the ground all the way up. So therefore, you got everybody now. We living in a time of where everybody want to have a voice. Everybody want to have an opinion. But so you got so many smaller YouTubers now that don't have a voice, but they want a voice. A lot of them don't disagree with her son, what he's saying. A lot of them don't disagree with what Charles is saying. But if I want to try to get inside this cycle, I'm going to disagree with them. I'm going to find something of what they say, and I'm going to try to go against it, because that's what's going to make people start looking at me. So that's what I just feel like, that's something that's, a lot of people starting to do. A lot of people starting to try to find out anything to try to get in the position to have a voice. And I'm like this here. I've been knowing Charleston since we were 15. I know Charleston. I done seen Charleston transition into what he transitioned into. And my thing is this here. Why do we have so much bad to say about people that's not agreeing with what everybody else agreeing with? Why? If you sit back and listen, you might can gain something from these individuals that's being able to speak on what they speaking on. So I don't care about no hate, because I don't live a life of likes and dislikes. I live a life of reality. And the reality is, hey man, y'all gotta catch in. Because these guys done built up a quality platform, and I want to salute them for me to be on a platform with these guys. So, that's how I feel.
Now, Hassan.
Well, I say like this, right? At the end of the day, when you put us in a position where we don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out, it's kill or be killed. I personally like the build that we had tonight. I like the brother that I forgot the brother name that I'm talking to right now.
Oh, that's Dewberry.
Dewberry. I like the way he articulated himself. I like the accent, because when you hear different accents, it means that you reaching people on different coastlines and stuff like that. Like when you deal with the South, you deal with the West Coast, you deal with, the East Coast, or whatever the case, you deal with Africa, whatever. I like to be able to build and show that we can actually deal with maturity. Like some of these other platforms that I try to help out, they bring out the ignorant side. I don't want to bring out the ignorant side. I want to bring out the intellectual side where they say, yo, these brothers sparked like gladiators and everybody came out winning. I make it clear that I don't want to be a part of the section of YouTube. And the section of YouTube be proud of their ways. The section of YouTube is proud of their ways. They think that in order for them to come up, they have to destroy somebody that's at the top. Instead of sitting up there saying, yo, I'm gonna pass the torch down and I'm gonna take this torch and I'm gonna make you be proud of me. That's why I always rock with you, Kimbo. And I always do, because not one time have you ever crossed me or made me feel uncomfortable on your platform. And it's like, yo, if I'm going to extend, anytime we take the chance out to reach and pass the torch back, where the game is already rigged. I see where they're playing with your numbers. You see where they're playing with my numbers. Even if they allow me to get 100,000 views in 24 hours, my videos will never make 1 million views after 24 hours. After 24 hours, none of my videos are trending. It's not easy to get 100,000 views in 24 hours and none of my videos are trending. It's because they're keeping my voice back. So if I pass the torch, if I pass the torch to you and you a smaller YouTuber, don't stab me in my back. Make me proud. Don't look for my weakness to destroy me. This is why you can't go back. You can't look back sometimes. In the Bible, when it breaks down how Lot was leaving and he was fleeing the lands, and he told his wife not to look back and she turned to stone. This messages when you're dealing in these cities that was created for us to destroy each other. you look back, it might cost you your life. But then again, you sit up there and you criticize the celebrities when they actually move out of the hellfire and they say, you know what, ain't no looking back. Because you got to be a real to dive back into the fucking hood and might not make it back out like Nipsey Hussle. Dave East just opened up, or he's opening up. He got the keys to his first store that he opened up in the hood. And I pray for Dave East because I hope that he make it out. He has to understand when you make moves like that, it ain't just the hood no more. It's the Illuminati that wants to make an example out of you. They ain't trying to let the hood save the hood. Nipsey paved the way for some of the realest shit, and it costed him life. In every hood is the shitty cuz. In every hood was a shitty cuz. He was so mad at Nipsey, he kicked him in his head after he knew he'd have aired him out. Why?
Now, speaking of Dave East, right? Now, Dave East, you're correct. He did open up a store in his native Harlem. Now, given what happened to Nipsey, is that a risk on his part?
That's a risk we have to take sometimes. But
exactly.
There's a risk you have to take sometimes because the reality of it is what goes up comes down. And the reality of it is, I don't care how rich you are. If an earthquake happened, if a tsunami happened, or if an asteroid hit this earth right now, if World War III comes, nobody's rich anymore. So now we all on the same level in the same playing field again. It's a chance you have to take.
What's your take, Dewberry?
I'm like that. It's a risk that you have to take. And I take a risk every single day when I go back inside my community. I don't stay in my hood, but I still go back to my hood when I'm coaching Little League football. I go back in my hood when I'm grabbing those kids from my hood and taking them downtown Dallas and showing them how to feed the homeless. I'm taking a risk when I'm in the hood, grabbing the youth, letting them see that now this is what we gotta do. I'm taking a risk because I'm trying to change the mindset of the new generation that we bringing up. Now I have a guy in England that done contacted me, and he got some land in Dallas, and what he's trying to do with me is he want to build a community center strictly for trading stocks to show the kids this. And this is what he came to me with, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that's humongous. And I told him, I want to do that in the hood. Mm-hmm. I want to do it in the hood. I want to be able to say, I did that in the hood. If that cost me, hey, guess what? I'm going to salute it because guess what? I did my job. I did my job. Y'all get what I'm saying, right?
Of course, of course.
So, therefore, man, you got to take a chance. That's why when Nipsey did what he did, he had a vision. He had a vision. He was trying to, I feel like that Nipsey was trying to transform into something else and to show all the homies, now we got to get out this certain element. We got to get out this certain mindset. We got to start elevating. We can't keep on running around thinking that it's about bang, bang, shoot them up. So now we got to take them chances. So I'm with him. Salute you, and I wish him nothing but the best.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that response. Now,
yo, Kim, let me ask you a question.
What's up, bro?
You ever wish that you could bring somebody back from the dead and get rid of one of these real rappers?
All the time.
Yo, I swear, like the one thing there's so like, if I could bring back Tupac had the most important voice in rap history. Despite his East Coast, West Coast beef that the media pushed, Tupac's voice was, to this day, the most important voice in hip hop. The most important voice in hip hop. Like, if I could take one of these rappers and give them back, like say, God, please take this, give me back Pac, give me back Pac. Like, for real, give me back Pac, take this. Nipsey loved his hood. The hood loved Nipsey. But Nipsey tweeted before he died, I got some strong enemies. And one thing I realized when I got surrounded in Bronx River, there was an older that was whispering in them little heads. And it's funny because then when I seen that older again, he didn't know how to react. And I'm like, yo, I got love for this old, happy to see him. And he's scared, like he think I'm about to shoot him. And I'm like, oh, he telling on himself. Why? The hood will push somebody up to destroy you. One thing I realized about myself is that I'm in a position right now that I'm more powerful than some of the drug dealers that was getting money. I got more money, or rather getting more legal money than these drug dealers that's getting money. So it's like, oh, I really fucking hate you. And the 48 laws of power teach you not to outshine your master, but ain't none of these master. Nipsey had to die. If Nipsey would have if Nipsey would have kept going, Nipsey would have been one of the greatest things that California has ever seen. Yeah, we like our music, we like our culture. Sometimes some of the lyrics that we say is like, all right, but some of the movies we've been watching from Hollywood, when we sit up there and watch Scarface, we love Scarface. It's a classic. We love The Godfather. It's a classic. We love New Jack City. It's a classic. You know what I mean, we love Boys in the Hood. It's a classic. It's a portrait of who we are. But at the same time, Nipsey loved his hood. He was the epitome of his hood. He couldn't be that. A black man can't live and be a messiah in this world without being executed. And when they execute a man like Nipsey Hussle, is to show the rest of the boule, right? Because I'm pretty sure Nipsey took the oath to be upon some of them brothers, because sometimes you take an oath and you join, like the Zulu Nation. When I joined the Zulu Nation, that's the first family of hip hop. I didn't know I was in a cult. I just know that I was with an older man that was raising young boys in the music industry, and somewhere down the line, he was a sick pedophile. It was like, all right, he's a good guy, but he's a sick pedophile. And you get brainwashed into this cult and this way of life. But this industry will remind you sometimes, they will remind you that you cannot save the hood. You can go back to the hood and give turkeys and use it as a tax write-off. You can go back to the hood and you can give out book bags as a tax write-off. But if you ever try to elevate the hood and lead by an example, you will die. Rest in peace, Malcolm X. Rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. Rest in peace, Tupac, for using his voice. Rest in peace, all of the late greats, Batula Shakur, Geronimo, Pratt, Mumi, Asada. You will never hear names like Asada no more. Just Nicki, just Cardi, and the rest of these whores of Babylon. I'm out.
Yo, we're gonna wrap this up. Y'all appreciate your time, your Dewberry. Let the people know where they can catch up with you at, where they can get in tune.
Oh man, there it is, man. Anthony Dewberry official page, man, on YouTube, man. Y'all can check me out, man. Anthony Dewberry, everything on Instagram. You know, just check me out, man. We can go keep on doing what we're doing, man. And most of all, man, everything that I spit is strictly about elevation. It's strictly about elevation. And that's what I stand on, and that's what I'm about. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, hey, man, y'all check me out, man. We gonna make this go. I want to make this go global, because you just said something, son, and that's the problem. We got too many scary men they scared to be leaders because they scared to what? Fall. And I'm not afraid.
Haas, how you want to close it out, bro?
I'm gonna tell them like this, right? And I always say this, right? When the brothers say elevation, one of my favorite movies is The Last Dragon. The whole movie, Leroy was looking for the master. The master that he was looking for lived within himself. his higher self of righteousness, of peace. He avoided war, but then when you pushed him, he fought for the greatness of himself, the greatness of his people, and then he restored balance of peace. I want our people to understand something. We are people that's not living in balance, and we fighting for the wrong reasons. I want everybody that's watching me right now to look within themselves and become them better, their better half, their better self. When you become your better self, you'll become a better husband, a better father, a better spiritual leader, a better financial leader. Everything changes when we become the better person within ourselves. Stop looking to please the community and look to please and restore the inner peace that comes within ourselves. Violence is never peace. Ignorance is never peace. War is never peace. Beefing with your brothers and sisters that look just like you, they're suffering from the same thing. When I see somebody that's suffering, I want to hug them. I know what my GAT game brings to the table. I know what I'm capable of. When you watch the movie Billy the Kid, well, I used to be nice. Now I feel like, you know what I mean? I might be a little bit washed up, but I feel like as an old general, I could bring some shit to the table. But why am I going to give the best of my artillery to somebody that cried the same tears? You cried the same tears I cried. I cry all the time. I cry right now just thinking about what I'm thinking about. We are in pain and poverty. And there's somebody looking at the cameras that they created all through our community, laughing while we die in misery and scream, free my as our children, slaughter our children. Let the candles burn, filled with rest and peace, and mama's crying while babies is dying.
Yo, on that note, I want to say peace and one love from the Info Minds and For the Culture family. And y'all just stay tuned. We got a lot in store.